Hello and welcome to Navani Lore and Theory video. I'm Shergok, your host, and today we are going to take a closer look at what Demiurge does in the Holy Kingdom movie, so spoiler alert, with the orcs and why he tries to make love accessible for everybody, and why this is his most cruelest experiment. But before we go on to take a closer look at any of this, let me quickly thank my Patreons for supporting this channel, as well as say thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function for making a one-time donation. And with that said, let's get to the topic at hand. Demiurge is not exactly the nicest NPC in the Great Tomb of Nezarec, created by Ulbert Elaine Odle, one of the 41 members of Nezarec. He was so obsessed with the concept of evil that it was basically his whole personality, and he was a Chunibu through and through. Demiurge was also inspired by the archetype of the ruthless undead overlord commander type, which Ainz Ooal Gown embodied and roleplayed as. This has led to a lot of atrocities on his part, most notably the establishment of what is jokingly referred to as the Happy Farm, where raw materials, scrolls, and other useful items are harvested from very unwilling and quite reluctant sources, the infamous bipedal sheep. There's also hints and indications that Demiurge is behind the mysterious disappearance of many people in the Holy Kingdom. The garrison on the Great Wall, which separates the human-inhabited peninsula from the Hills of Rebellion, was convinced that invisible demi-humans or heteromorphs must be responsible for the kidnappings, as raids deep into the interior of the country were somehow carried out, even though these raiders were never ever caught or found. And therefore it is all the more astonishing that this archdemon, with a negative karma score of 500, has taken it upon himself to find a way to enable love and reproductive marriage across species boundaries. And all of this relates to something I have already touched upon and briefly explained in my video about the demi-humans in the New World of Overlord. Because there are three main categories of beings: humanoids, demi-humans, and heteromorphs. And every single living being in the New World can be classified into one of these categories. And these categories have another effect as well. These main species in them can only reproduce within their own category. This means, for example, that a human and an elf can have offspring. And we have even two specific examples of this. One is the child of the Elven King, Dacam Hugin, and the formerly strongest godkin of the Theocracy of Slain, namely Antilene Heran Fosh, better known as Zashi Zetsumai. And the other example is of two unknown parents, and her name is Emina, the half-elf, who was a member of Team Foresight, a group of workers who were captured during the raid on the Great Tomb of Nezarec. And there was also another participant in the raid who wasn't fully human either. Gringham was very short and stout, likely because he had some dwarf blood in him still. And although he was weaker than Gargaran of the Blue Roses, he was still a formidable fighter in the context of the wider world. However, it is not possible, for example, for a humanoid to reproduce with a heteromorph. This specifically means that Princess Venna cannot have a child with Climb as long as he remains human. Which won't stop her from trying it again and again though. But again, as far as we know, it is just biologically impossible. Similarly, Sebastian, the butler of Steel and Tuare, the peasant girl he saved from certain death, and with whom he is now more or less together, also cannot have a child. And this is precisely what Demiurge is trying to change. He is attempting to understand why exactly pregnancies fail across species. Is this due to fertilization? Does the embryo fail to implant itself in the womb? Is the blood perhaps incompatible, like with certain blood factors between mother and child? Or is there a deeper, more magical reason behind it? and therefore Demiurge is conducting a whole series of very unappetizing experiments. I will phrase it in a YouTube-friendly way as always, but you can read between the lines. Among other things, reproductive experiments were carried out and documented, with a particular focus on testing all possible and impossible combinations. Organ transplants were also performed to find out if and what kinds of rejection occur in different cases, and what would be the cause behind it. In other words, Demiurge wants to find out by any means necessary what is causing this incompatibility and what might be done about it. And the question arises as to why, since Sheltie, Albedo and Ainz are all heteromorphs. So it's unlikely that there is a need to intervene in that regard, as what's missing is a certain body part, a certain bone Ainz Vulgo needs for a connection between two lovers and not base compatibility. But one possible reason could be to improve the quality and strength of the subjects in the Sorcerer Kingdom. The stock of summoning books used to create servant NPCs like the Hanzos is large, but not infinite. In fact, the Great Tomb of Nazarick has already run out of summoning books for the Hanzos, and there's also a shortage of replacements. Ainz and Pandora's Actor can only create certain undead, meaning the Sorcerer Kingdom's army has a significant weakness against fire and holy magic, as well as bludgeoning damage. In other words, it would be extremely advantageous for the Sorcerer Kingdom if powerful heteromorph beings, such as dragons, could be paired or pair with human women to produce a great number of powerful offspring naturally, thus providing an inexhaustible source of recruits. Of course, not everyone would become an elite warrior, but if a human could inherit the magical strength and potential of a dragon, like the ancestors of Draudilon Auriculus did, which somehow have managed to cross this very species boundary that Demiurge is now seeking to also overcome. They could perhaps also use powerful rituals, magic of crafting, of fabrication, or of agriculture in peace times. And the greater the Sorcerer Kingdom's production and output is, the more Nazarick can draw from it. However, I also think it has something to do with Sebastian taking Tuares' quasi-wife, even if we don't know exactly how far things have progressed between them yet. And here's the thing I've been trying to talk about all along. It seems to take more than just player blood, or in Seba's case's NPC blood, to create godkins, to produce offspring that can become as strong, or nearly as powerful, as their player parents. Just for comparison, while the young godkin leading the Black Scripture is stronger than Solution Epsilon, and Zashi Zetsumai is at level 88, making her stronger than any of the regular Pleiades by default, and able to put up a decent fight against Mare. The hundreds, if not thousands of children of the Elven King Dachem Hugin, apart from Zashi, have never become as strong as he himself is. Because he too is a descendant of one of the 8 kings of Everis. So there must be a lot more behind godkins, how they awaken, and what causes them to awaken. Because it is currently unknown. But the fact that the godkin leading the Black Scripture is only allowed to take one more wife than usual, without violating the customs and laws of the theocracy, suggests that the theocracy understands how to maintain the godkin bloodline, even with very few descendants. And this is despite the fact that Soshana, the last player, was eliminated by the 8 kings of Everis 500 years ago, and players with the necessary equipment and motivation to reproduce passed away many years prior. In other words, there must be some method by which godkins can be reliably awakened. Otherwise, a godkin would essentially be obligated to act out this very anime here over and over again. And therefore I also think that Demiurge is trying to figure out this exact mechanism to make it usable for Nezarec, ensuring that all descendants of members of the Great Tomb are immensely powerful, just like their parents. And I already have speculated in my video about Ainsul Gurn having children with Albedo, how strong and how powerful they would be and what they look like. But I naturally assumed that they would be strong indeed. But as it seems, this isn't guaranteed. And of course, this also concerns sheer numbers. If Sebas and Tuare can have a child, that's one more subject for Ainz, and the same applies to the rest of the Sorcerer Kingdom. If cross-species intermingling is also not only allowed but results in the production of offspring, it would also tie the population of the Sorcerer Kingdom closer together. And naturally behind all of this lies the mechanism that transfers the potential for enormous power to one's descendants. If it were possible to isolate this, or perhaps replicate this inheriting of enormous potential with magic, then Ainsul Gurn could turn any human into someone as potentially strong as a player. And I haven't even mentioned this yet, but most humans are very weak, and no matter how much they train, they won't get much stronger than level 20. That was also the problem Climb had. He was someone without much talent, and effort alone, dedication and discipline, isn't everything. In other words, a large portion of the population of the Sorcerer Kingdom can't even reach level 30 or level 40. No matter how much they train and how they try to power level or are being power leveled. This was also the experiment with the Lizardmen and the Collars. But if that could be changed, promising individuals could be made much stronger with the help of this magic or this magical item, or rather given the potential to become stronger under Nezarec's guidance. And we already have an item that can do exactly that. At the end of the duel between Ainsul Gurn and Climb, Climb not only lost his sword, Razor Edge, but also the ring that Platinum once gave to Ygritte, which then ended up in Climb's possession via Garzev Stronov. This ring allows the warrior to gain 5 additional levels, even if they are already at level 100. In other words, understanding this mechanism that makes Godkins powerful opens up the potential of the entire new world to Nezarec. And as I mentioned, allowing the natural reproduction of guild members with anyone, and similarly permitting the same in the Sorcerer Kingdom, would be a significant boost for Nezarec. And with that said, now it's your turn. What do you think of the video, of Demiurge's research, and of the goal of these efforts? Do you think Sebas and Tuare will become parents? Do you think we will see more Godkins coming from Nezarec? Let me know it down in the comment section. And while you're typing, I say thank you very much for watching. Thanks to my Patreons for supporting this channel. And as usual, special thanks to _, ASK, Bad Guy Yi, Bad Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Dinpep, Dragonlord Placido Saxophone, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feral Shivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Loverazor, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, Oh Kill, Overlord General Gaspar, Paddy Pantum, Personage, Primus 11, Rhinomir, Cune Caracos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Sir Axolotl, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rock Ed Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Zinukai, and Zonegon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.